Day Tripper, the fastest way to plan a brilliant day out. Say where you're going, who you're with, and your vibe. In seconds you get a smart, map-ready itinerary with hidden gems. Ready? Try it out at daytripper.com. A perfect day the easy way.
Liverpool as a city has been persecuted by the state.
It has.
At same time, the way the Palestinians have.
Yeah.
The duration is the same, because if you think about the history of this city, when Churchill ordered the 2 ships to point guns at the docks, from that time on, all the way to Margaret Thatcher coming into power in 80, and then 10 years, like fucking this city has been sucked out of its wealth, out of all its business, and then shifted all to Manchester. This city used to be booming once upon a time, and now it's been brought down to like poverty, and then the media has attacked it and called the Scousers criminals and all sorts, right?
The most influential organisation against racism in the history of this city is Curtis Warren's gang.
Right.
Yeah, because the far right are football hooligans historically, and their rank and file is working class men, but the leadership is a criminal element. And if you can imagine the biggest criminal gang in Europe, who were selling drugs at the time, if you were a far right gang in Liverpool, you weren't getting nothing from them. You know, so they were seriously weakened, and I'd say the second biggest was the IRA. Because the IRA, that's why Liverpool's never attacked. Yeah. And there used to be signs saying no blacks, no Irish. And the government and the authorities and the press and the education system don't want you to know.
Okay,
that
we need you to save this until the camera... Is the camera recording?
It's just historical fact about this city, it is, but they don't want to tell you this in the education system.
I want you to say all this at
No, we're recording now. So
well, I'm happy to crack on from it. I'll repeat it in the beginning anyway.
No, we'll keep it in. We'll keep that in. Like, but today's guest is community activist Khaled, going to give us an insight into his life and how he got to being where he is today. So,
by the way, Khaled is the sword of God. Yeah, that's the name. So I just wanted to bring that up here. His name is special.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me on. I didn't know we'd started already. Is this mine?
Yeah.
Without sound like it's it, I boycott everyone.
So
I can just
I've nearly finished that one.
Why is that?
So it's own a company, the non is heavily invested in genocide in Israel. So
I didn't know that.
Invested in genocide.
Yeah, so
do you want us to move them?
I just don't want them in front of me. I would rather not give them a platform, please. But
hydrogen water.
I brought my own.
And
thank you
I'll
very much.
filter it as well. So.
And that's not me being a tit. I just truly boycotting is such an important aspect of the movement, so effective. And we've seen the impact it had on South Africa. So it's one thing that we can all do, and that's something I'm passionate about.
Did not know anything about that, like, you know what I mean?
Something that everyone can educate themselves on, because they're more concerned about finances than freedom. They're more concerned about profits over people. They're more concerned about economics over human rights. So if we can hit them where it hurts, in the pocket, then it's probably the most impactful action we can take.
You'll have to find me some stuff over if you fund things and all that, you know what I mean? I did not know about everything. But yeah, we've been rolling anyway, so this is all staying, do you know what I mean?
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's sound, don't worry about it. If you want to go now, a little brief description on yourself and then carry on.
So yeah, first thing, let's introduction about, your small introduction of, introduce yourself and what you do and,
Okay. My name's Khaled. I'm born and bred in Liverpool. I've got a white English mum. I've got an Arab Muslim dad. I was born in Page Moss Heighton. I went to school in nursery, infants, juniors in Heighton. And then I spent the last year of juniors and moved to Toxteth. Although I was living in Toxteth, my early formative school years was in Heighton. And then I began my education in Toxteth. And then by the time I was 11, I was always a naughty child. I was always fighting in school in Heighton. And people say Heighton's racist. And we have had a number of racist attacks in Heighton. But I grew up in Heighton, you can't tell me about Heighton, because I was fighting every day in school in Heighton. And I swear to you, every single day I had white lads standing with me, fighting against the racists. So people might say Heighton's racist, but I know more than anywhere Heighton will stand up for you. I can name the families in Heighton who were standing up for my family and the other families in the 70s. I'm a bit polarised and I'm a bit unpopular right now, so I won't mention them, but I'd love to come back, because there's a lot of people in the city that we owe credit to. So I went to school then in Toxteth, and then by the time I was 11, I was hyperactive, you see. I was hyperactive, no school in Merseyside that have me, no mainstream educational facility. So I went to school for juvenile delinquents after a year off, and I lasted 6 months in one, and then I lasted 3 months in another, and then no education facility would have me. So like from 14, I was kind of just on the streets with the older lads, and got myself in trouble, left home, met a few lads who was a little bit older than me, but 2 years older than you when you're 16 is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then by the time I was 19, I was one of the most wanted men on the country. I was on Crime Watch UK. I was on Britain's Most Wanted. I was on the Jill Dando special of Crime Watch UK. I was the first person in Merseyside's Most Wanted in the Liverpool Echo. The channel Liverpool 1 put me on 24 times. And by the time I was 19, I'd ruined my life basically. I then spent 3 years on the run. My brother passed away, Allah Hammer, so I handed myself in. And then I spent 3 years locked in a concrete box, probably smaller than your bathroom. And I came out, and it took a few years due to my programming, all my tactics, problem-solving strategies and solutions were for the life I'd lived, and I was trying to go on a straight track. And then once I had children, I sorted my life out. Tried to better the community and get involved.
Quite eventful and
Yeah.
gone through ups and, well, pain and suffering and trauma, I suppose. Kind of remolds you, gives you a lot to think about, and you know, transforms you for the future. I think you got to go through.
When you're spending years in this fucking cell, a lot of time on your own, you have a lot of time to think. A lot of people overthink.
Well, I think it doesn't matter how big or muscular you are. It all depends on mental strength.
Mental fortitude.
You have to be mentally strong to be able to deal with that.
To deal with it without going on drugs, because
Yeah.
a massive percentage of the prison population are on drugs, whether prescribed drugs or unprescribed drugs.
Yeah.
And I'm on about the lads too. I'm on about the people you think are gangsters and you think of faces and you think of names.
Yeah.
Once they're behind the door, they need something for the head, and you can't hide who you are in jail.
No, you can't.
So I know that might sound pathetic to your viewers, but I'm very proud of the fact that I never even sampled that shit when I was in jail, thank God,
Yeah.
because I might not be strong enough to do that battle. But you can't hide who you are. As soon as that door's open after you've been locked in for 23 hours, you see them going to the medical hatch, you see them going to get the foil or whatever need, or you see the lads just standing on the landing, just watching, people watching, observing.
Well, I know all about that because, you know, I've experienced it. I call it diving for light, because you're in a dark place, totally dark. The environment's dark and people's attitudes are dark, and it's totally dark. But you have to search for the light within yourself, because if you don't find this light within yourself, you're going to be lost forever. So it's a challenging task. It's not for everyone, but those that come out of that come out so solid and strong. So
I think 6 months jail or 6 months jail or national service to a young man could be extremely beneficial, because it sorts your priorities out. You realise it's not your mates on the street that you miss, it's your family. It's being able to walk in any direction. It's not your mates who are looking after you. And I've always been blessed with amazing friends, better men than me, who've always looked after me. But it's your sister that you miss, or your dad, or your mum and them. When I went to jail, I was just worried about my nan, but my nan passed away, my dad passed away, my uncle passed away, my auntie, and I didn't expect none of that. So my worst day in jail was the day I got out, because I just put that in the box and thought, you know what, I'll deal with it when I get home. And then, like, 2.5 years have flown by, and now that gate's opening, and I've got to fucking come out and deal with it. I remember that I was only twice in my life I felt small, where like too small to deal with what I'm about to deal with. The day my brother died, and the day I'm getting out of jail. And I don't know if you've been away, Steve, but that door's massive.
No, I've not been away.
Fucking huge, lad. It's for a big lorry to come through, yeah? And it folds over, and I'm stood there in the door, it cracks open, and my family on the other side. I didn't even know this, and they're all there made up, and I'm thinking, like, as soon as that door opens, like, my dad's dead, I've got to deal with it.
You've got to deal with the emotions of what you've did.
They were all made up and happy, and when I come out, I was just like, not happy, and I could see my sister disappointed, thinking like, make an effort, lad, why aren't you smiling? And like, this is like the first day my dad's passed away, because when you're in jail, all your memories are outside. That's just like yesterday. You just blank that and think, yeah. One of my elders said to me, put it in the box and open that box when you get home. So that's what I did.
Do you know, you know, after you come out, did you isolate, like stay in the house and didn't even come out for the first month kind of thing?
No. Do you know what I am?
It feels you're not used to people no more.
No,
you're not used to going out and about.
No,
and you're like,
that was never a problem I had. I don't want to really talk about my 20s too much, because I'd already made all them mistakes by the time I was 19, and I don't want to... Anything I ever done wasn't drug fueled. I made a conscious decision that I was going to live my life that way, and whatever consequences come, I thought I'll deal with them. No, because I always knew I was going to go to prison. I always knew I was going to be a long-term offender. And I always knew when I come out, I would just be smarter and wiser with better contacts. And then you come out and then you mature and you realise, because I was successful, but no matter how much money you got, you can't be a good brother when you're in jail. You can't be a good son. Yeah, so I can be out here skint now and still be a good dad. And you can put me away, even if I'm affluent, and you can't be a good dad. So that's what keeps me on the straight and narrow. And with regards to being institutionalised, no, I was itching to get out and get back and mingle. Shit.
I found that because when I done my first custodial sentence, it was what, 2010, I think, 2010. I got 2 years. I had to do a full year. When I come out, bro, for a month, I didn't even go out of my home. I was just like, I didn't want to see people.
Yeah.
I wasn't used to it, like seeing people or anything. It messed me up. I had to rebuild my confidence and everything. And then that was the first time. But then in 2017, I went away, came out, and then after 2.5 years, and that's like, I decided that I'm going to move to Liverpool. And within 6 months of being released in 2020, I moved to Liverpool and never looked back. You know, I think it was the best. I wish I came to this city 20 years earlier. I would have had a head start. But I didn't read the signs, man. God gave me the signs from a young age when I was in the armed forces, when the 2 Scousers I met who backed me. You know, that was the sign from God. But then it took me a while. I didn't clock on to
This is not a bad city, it's just
It's an amazing city. I just think it's one
It's
of
an amazing city, but 20 years ago, we grew up in an environment where there was a lack of positive opportunities and an overabundance of negative opportunities. So I truly believe if we were raised in Cambridge or Oxfordshire and all our positive male role models would have been owning glazing companies, roofing companies, building companies, IT companies, then we would have met them men, and we would have had the same impression on them men that we had in the elders of our community, because we always did show entrepreneurial spirit, and we were like the leaders of men and the employers of men, and I accept it was in a negative sphere and there were negative actions, but they was almost the only opportunities available to us. So you're probably better that you were in Liverpool 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, but the thing is, this city, I see great opportunities in this city, even now, because it's a massive city. It's got an airport, it's got docks. These docks are ancient docks over here, and this used to be a big trade route. Now, when you look at this city, it's like being in the capital city like London, but without the congestion, without the big cost of being in London. This city, now looking at, like, for example, you go out on a Friday, Saturday night in this city, it's so bloody filled with people, and it's cheap. The property prices are cheap. Business to start up here is cheap. So there's so much opportunity here, but we haven't got the varieties of food and spices that you get in London. You've got Middle Eastern,
We've
Indian.
got that now, haven't we?
No,
Well, 20 years ago.
No, but in London, there's a big, you got East London, you got West London, and you got Central London, and you got North and South. They are all dominating with all different varieties. You got Greek restaurants, you got Italian, you got Indian, you got Arab, you got not just Arab, you got Lebanese, you got all the different Arabian, you know, from all the different country, Kurdish, so many varieties there in North, South, East, West. we can do that in Liverpool still.
We've done it now,
And
but
the thing is, Scousers love food. Scousers love spending money. You know, people make out that these guys haven't got money. They have got a lot of money here.
no, but what
People
he's
have got a
saying
lot
is
of
20
money.
years ago, you weren't given opportunities.
Yeah, but now
No,
you
yeah,
can.
in the community we grew up, there was a lot of negative opportunities,
Yeah.
not a lot of positive opportunities. And what you're saying relates us to being a port city. So we have a lot of people here with the immigrant mentality, a lot of people who have travelled thousands of miles to better themselves, and we're fortunate enough that they've come to this city and they contribute to this city, and that's why we've got Scousers.
I read up about the history of this city as well. So when you look at black people, like for example, like my friend told me this, and from London, he's quite educated, and he goes, Abir, you know the black slave trade used to go from Liverpool to America, right? So the black African people that you've got in Liverpool, these are the original people who were left over, who didn't make the boat, like they were stopped over. Basically, they carried on the slave trade and took the black people to America to use them as slaves. But the ones who were left here, they ended up making this their home. So this, he goes, the black people of Liverpool are the very original black people, and they are from that generation. So I was like, really? So yeah, he told me this, and it's very true. And not just that, he goes, the first Chinatown that was ever built is in Liverpool. The first mosque that was ever established is in Liverpool. And this was by the white people. So what I'm saying is, this isn't before even the Liverpool football ground was found, 1887, I think.
This is way before.
So this 18...
No, when was it, Ben? Liverpool?
Yeah, 1887 was the, or 1880, so 1892, I think, the Liverpool Football Club was found. So this is 5 years before.
But aside from
Yeah,
that...
so 1887 is when, so 1 year before that. So what I'm saying is, even the mosque is over 100 years. So what I'm saying is, the black African, the Islam, Chinatown, you know, it's all in Liverpool. So, you know, I wanted Khaled to explain in his own words how the term Scouser came about, because I heard him say this.
I've seen that, yeah.
And then when I saw this clip, I said, get this brother on our podcast. I said,
I will
hit
do,
him up.
if I could just touch on what you've just said then. So due to the port city, first I'm going to touch on slavery. So Liverpool was classed as the second city of the empire, and during slavery, the trade would go from the West Indies, from Africa. Yeah, they would kidnap slaves from Africa, take them to the West Indies, make them work for cotton and cane, and be human beings, and they'd be brought to Liverpool. Just that was the triangle, the slavery triangle, from the slavery coast to the West Indies to Liverpool. And we have a thing called the Cotton Exchange in Liverpool.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And that's where all the cotton was brought. And we had slave markets in Liverpool, and there were tunnels in the Liverpool city centre with rings on where the slaves were tied to. So when you see the Caribbean Centre having fighting for its survival, because it's got a small little piece of land in Liverpool, it's disgusting, because Liverpool, more than any other city in this country, was built on the back of slavery. The flags exchange was from where all the flags of the Commonwealth, where all the money was stolen from the countries that England colonised. And so this city has been built, but not just this city, because after all the money that come to this city, we built the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Now, when Britain give independence to the West Indies, we give independence to the West Indies on the condition that there would never be no manufacturing and no factories in the Caribbean or in the West Indies. Those were the conditions England, Britain granted independence. So now we've got these islands full of sugar, full of cotton, but you're not allowed a factory. So all that sugar and cotton, this is after the slave trade was abolished, was brought here. And then it went to Manchester, and then to Burnley and Blackburn and Oldham, and made all these northern powerhouses. All this is money that was stolen from the West Indies, from a people that was stolen from Africa. And the country that has the oldest immigrant population in England is the Yemeni community. So I'm a former chairman of Merseyside Yemeni community, and my father-in-law, Ham, was the first democratically elected. It used to be, I was selected by the elders of the community. My father was voted on. So my father had the first democratic vote. The community, the country with the oldest ethnic community in this country is the Yemeni community. And the second oldest is China, is the Chinese community of Liverpool. And what it is if Liverpool was first and Southampton and Cardiff were second, because they were the biggest ports, and they were the ports that had ships big enough. Now, we're on about one or two people, we're on about people enough to become a community, because there's actually an older community. and that's the black community of Liverpool. And the black community of Liverpool is the oldest ethnic community in Europe. Now, the black community of Liverpool didn't represent a country like Nigeria or Ghana or Senegal or Ivory Coast. It represented the continent of Africa. So we had a number of African merchants, and in 1710 they were recorded in history in Liverpool as being the oldest immigrant community in Europe. The oldest black community in Europe is from Liverpool, and England's oldest immigrant community is Germany.
2 seconds.
One.
Well, the world only got colonized in the last 100 years, so all these borders were created and colonization happened
back further than
in the
that.
last 100 years. So you're right, because that's where all the countries were given borders and everything. Otherwise, they were under the
It's Mark
British
Sykes and
Raj.
George Picot.
But there's also, so it's also there weren't planes back then, so everyone would come into the United Kingdom via ship. So they never settled. You look at the Asian, Indians and Pakistani people, for example, then they never settled in Liverpool. They came through ships, and then they went to Burnley, Bradford and all that. So that's why it's all surrounded by
Is that why they've got bigger communities?
Yeah, the big towns. So
Because they all settled there,
they came
yeah.
from
They had to come here first.
They came through
to
Liverpool,
support.
off the ships, off the docks, and then they migrated over here, and then they went to outer towns. Burnley, Blackburn, Bradford, and all these places are full
So
of
is that
Asians.
why them places got a bigger community?
Liverpool.
Yeah, because they originally came from Liverpool, off the ships.
There's various reasons why the internal towns of England have got them, but the oldest community is Liverpool, Cardiff, Southampton, and that's because that's where the ports were. So there's no city, no town, no place in England that has got an older ethnic community than Liverpool, Cardiff, Southampton, because that's where the boats came that were big enough to provide enough people to create a community. And then the diaspora travelled inland to Sheffield and Birmingham and Manchester.
There's another thing I wanted to say. Now, where the poverty came into the city and they started robbing the trade out of this city, Liverpool Football Club became like a beacon of hope for these Scousers, the Liverpool City, because everyone went behind this club and supported it and gave it all their heart. And it got people together, and this is where the slogan was born: "You never walk alone." So this, this slogan was basically of unity and putting all your heart together, and it gave them hope. Because when the people came together, they put all their heart and soul behind this club, which gave them victory. And it's the most successful club, really. If you look at it over the whole period since football started, football.
Why is this not taught in schools and all like that?
Because people aren't educated, they don't read. I've read this, and it goes hand in hand with what he's saying as well. Because this football club is the most successful club if you look at the history from 100 years, from when it was established all the way to now. If you take away Sir Alex Ferguson's work, what he done in the 90s from Manchester United, if that's eliminated, like if you look at the timeline, the history of this club, it's the most successful club in English football, period. Because whatever Manchester United accomplished was from the 90s onward. It's like they haven't really accomplished anything from 100 years. Like like what Liverpool has accomplished through the beginning, they've been battling all the way, but they've never had the funding, they've never had the money. And this city was attacked by the government and everyone, to bring brought down to its knees and to turn it broke. But the people and the heart of the people, and then what? Another thing that brought me to this city is the phoenix, isn't it? The phoenix rises from the ashes. Do you understand? There's a reason the phoenix is the.
I know the phoenix rises from the ashes, but I don't know what
Is that symbolic with your rebirth, your personal rebirth?
Well, it's something. It's a symbol. It all goes hand in hand, isn't it? The phoenix is rises from the ashes. This city. I have hope that I believe that these Scouser people, that if they get educated correctly and shown the truth, they will come together. Because if there's ever going to be a revolution...
Liverpool's already more united city than any other city in the country.
But check this out. If there's ever going to be a revolution in this country, it's going to start from Liverpool. Let's be real. There ain't no other city like it. And there ain't no people like the Scousers. and the
Okay,
country,
so
and
I'll
the
come back to you on
government
that.
and the
You
people
asked me
know
to
this.
You asked me
There is
to
no-
come back to you and say, what is a Scouser? And I'll say there is people like Scousers, but so the people who I would say are like Scousers, people who are from London, like people from Liverpool, but the East Enders, they are like Scousers, and the people from the Geordies from under the bridge, who aren't just from Tyneside, they're Geordies, they're like Scousers, and the people from Salford and Moss Side and Cheetham Hill, although they're from Manchester, they're like Scousers, they're not Mancunians, and all the areas I've just mentioned, and if you're born within the sound of the Bow Bell, you're supposed to be a Cockney, they're working class areas with a high concentration of immigration. So you asked me before what the definition of the Scouser is. In Liverpool, we've always had mass migration because it's a port city, and because of that, we've always had a small percentage of anti-immigration. In fact, so about 200 years ago, people didn't like how many immigrants would come to this country, the Liverpudlians, this city, because we'd had such an influx of Irish, and then blacks and Chinese and Yemenis were coming here. And the Liverpudlians looked down on the poorest people in this city. They had a very elitist attitude, the Liverpudlians who were born and bred here. And the people around the city centre, the people based around the docks, they could only afford to eat a dish called scouse, a dish called lobscouse. It was a dish without meat, it was a vegetable broth. And the Liverpudlians looked down on them and laughed. And they laughed at them. And it was only when they started to look at us, they seen us Scousers. And when they called us Scousers, they were on about the Irish, they were on about blacks, they were on about Yemenis, they were on about Chinese, they were on about the Scandinavians. They were on about the poorest people in the city.
Is this because these were eating the scouse?
Yes, and because they couldn't afford to eat meat.
Okay,
so they ate a vegetable dish called
Lobscouse.
scouse. Yeah, it's lobscouse is a Scandinavian term,
it comes from that one,
and it came scouse. And when you came to the city centre, when the Liverpudlians came to the city centre, they were amongst the Scousers. But then they seen that these Scousers had a community spirit. They had a unity. We'd share whatever we've got with each other. Even if we've got nothing, we'll share our last cup of sugar with you and give you half of it. And then they started seeing that we had a community spirit that the rest of Liverpool didn't have. We might have been from all over the world, but once we made Liverpool our home, we were together as one community. And the Scouse community from around the docks became the strongest community. And that's why to be a Scouser is to be something that's to be respected and something to be admired. But to be a Liverpudlian is to be born here. It doesn't make you a Scouser.
I'm with you now. So I seen a video, it was one of the first videos I seen of you talking with Billy Moore, and it was on that subject of Scouser. Now when you said the Scousers come from, you know, immigrants all around, I was like, fucking hell, I thought it come from Scandinavia, but now when you've just described it as they were the ones eating the scouse with the community and all that, do you know what I mean?
The dish lobscouse,
yeah.
That's a Scandinavian term.
Yeah, yeah. No, but when you said the term Scouser, I didn't know it was Liverpudlians calling all the communities who were eating Scousers, do you know what I mean? So now I understand where you said it come from them communities and all. Because at the time I was thinking, oh, well, now I thought it come from Scandinavia. I didn't know the people calling the Scousers were the actual people who were eating it, do you know what I mean? I didn't know that.
And then what happened after the Second World War is Liverpool was such a poor city, so run down. We had so many men coming back. So a little known fact is Liverpool City Council said to Huyton and to Kirkby, and they were just little overspill towns then, they said, will you take some of our families from around Liverpool city centre? And Huyton and Kirkby said, yeah, it'll be £5 per person to do all the red tape, and we'll take families of men who are coming back from the war, and we'll rehouse your people from Jerry Gardens, from the docks, from the bottom of Parliament, and we'll put them in Huyton and Kirkby. And Liverpool City Council said, if you stop doing your checks and your red tape, we'll give you £20 per person. And Huyton Town Centre and Kirkby Town Centre said, okay. And Liverpool got rid of all the criminals and all of them criminal families. The Liverpool City Council did from around town and put them in Huyton and Kirkby.
So is that how Kenny Farm become all ruthless?
So what they've done is all the criminal activity was centred around the docks. But when you took these families and put them in Huyton and Kirkby, these criminal families, the only graft they knew was on the docks.
Yeah.
But now they're miles away from the docks, so they just make their way back to the docks, and you just put the criminal element on the outside of Liverpool, and it just spread it throughout Liverpool.
Right, okay, so that's why that bloody... Everyone said to me, what you're doing in Kenny Farm, man.
Kenny Farm, yeah.
It's like near High.
That's where I was born.
No way, that's where I live now.
That's where I
it
was
was
born.
like saying to me, mate, this is dangerous.
No, it's not
bad,
at all.
It's like a rough area.
It is a rough area, and
I said,
so when I was always fighting as a child, if I was ginger, I would have been fighting. If I was fat, I would have been fighting. If I was tall, if I had glasses, they call Huyton two dogs. Yeah, it's two dogs fighting. So I would have been fighting no matter what. It just happened that I was mixed race. but I always had white lads from Heighton standing next to me fighting. So if you say Heighton's racist, it's proven to me as the most unracist place. And since I was 16, check this, when I was 16, I had a bit of beef, and the older businessmen from Heighton, they put the arm around me and said, stick with us, lad, we're like the UN, no one can fuck with us. And I haven't had to worry about a racist gang in this city since. And I've lived in Walthamstow, I've lived in Hackney, I've lived I've lived in Hackney, Islington, Walthamstow, back. As an ethnic, I know there's no racist gang in this city that can fuck with me, and I know ethnics in other cities can't say that. And that's not because of Toxteth, that's because of the white men of this city. It's because of the white people in this city. Well, I'm an activist in this city, and I'm telling you, again, these racist gangs can't fuck with me in Toxteth. But Toxteth is no better than Handsworth, we're no better than Moss Side, we're no better than Peckham, we're no better than Brixton. Toxteth does not keep organised racism out of this city. What keeps organised racism out of this city, or at least makes it operate at a level lower than every other city in the country, every other city in the country, is the white people of this city, it's the Liverpudlians. That's what it is. They keep it out of the North End, they keep it away from the city centre. You only have to look at our marches, you only have to look every time has tried to get organised, how many people come up against them. Yeah, it's the white people of this city. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud to be an ethnic, thinking, even if Toxteth doesn't come out, so, I know Liverpool's the most leftist city, the most socialist city.
Recent riots that we had in Liverpool, I don't even think that those are the real I think the people have come from out from different cities and gathered.
They are shipped, and you can only
there might be a little bit of Scousers, but I think they come from all over the country on their trains to get the big people together, and then they create riots here.
There's a lot of real Stockport and all that who come into the one.
I don't think the real Liverpool people are like that. So I don't personally think
we do have racists here,
yes,
okay? There are racists everywhere, and Scousers are a little bit extra. So our racist Scousers are a little bit extra, but our anti-fascists are Scousers. This city is a port city. It's built on migration. So we do say no blacks, no Irish, no dogs.
Where did that slogan? Where did that term come from?
No blacks, no Irish, no dogs. that anti-immigrants. Yeah, who didn't want no black people, who didn't want no immigrants, who didn't want no Irish, didn't want no immigrants. And they looked at us like we were dogs.
A big Irish backing in Liverpool, though, isn't he, as well? So
that's why we used to see the signs, yeah. Because people were saying they taking the jobs.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
when the Irish used to come here, and we can see that Ireland have bettered this city so much.
Yeah.
And funny enough, when I was in Heighton, that was a white, an Irish family. If I say the second name, you'll see it was a blatant Irish family. So it's the people of this city, the white people of this city have kept extremism and racism and organised fascism out. And I think as an ethnic, we should be so proud of that. We should be so proud of that. Now, when it comes to Islamic extremism, because any time you've got people coming on Muslims, you're going to get a backlash. Yeah, so we have had some Islamic extremism over the years. We have had some Islamic extremism, but we don't have none in Liverpool, okay? Because we got rid of them. Now, I have to thank my elders. The whole city should thank Al Rahman Mosque and Al Muqtada Mosque, because the brothers in their mosque, they made the Muslim extremists who we used to have, they made them weak. And then I can say only my elders have done more against Islamic extremism in this city. No one else can say that. Yeah, no one else can say that.
See, this is an area, and again, you don't air off, do you know what I mean?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm on about the Christian extremists.
Yeah,
but when we have Islamic extremists, my elders called me, because I've got a past, and said we've got extremists, because I've got a Christian mum, I've got a white Christian mum, and any Muslim who has a problem with a white Christian, I want to speak to them first. Don't go speak to... Yeah, I've got 11 aunties and uncles who are white Christians. So, we went and seen the Muslim extremists in the community, and I took my white cousins, I took the white lads from Heighton, I took the white lads from Anfield, the white lads from Wavertree, and I told these extremists, because I think if you're an extremist, you've got mental health issues, and I told them the brothers are going to bring the Christians in, and they're going to just play football with you, and the brothers are going to make sure the whole community watches, because they hate Christians, we want to make sure the Christians come into our community, knock the fuck out of them, and then we're going to take our Christian brothers for food. And we don't even see them as Christians, we just see them as the lads. But because these were extremists, to rub salt in the wound, because they were racist, because we have racists everywhere, we have extremists everywhere, but we've got to fight them everywhere. So if I can say, and not just in Liverpool, I go out of town, so I promise you, any Muslim extremists, they hate me more than they hate any of the Christians.
You wouldn't think that in the city because it doesn't get like
They're not
looked at.
allowed to get a foothold.
Do
They're
you know
not
what I mean?
allowed to get a foothold. Yeah, they're not allowed to get a foothold. As soon as they raise their head, the mosques come down on them. Yeah, and then lads like me will come in, and they don't leave when we say please.
You're never told
so they
this
have to
though, are
leave.
you? You're never told. You're never like. No one ever tells you this because I don't know whether they don't want people to know that the mosque are coming down on them or anything like that. But it's like never ever get told.
But, well, I imagine if you go anywhere and I imagine if some Christian coming here, I wasn't even spoke extremist, you'd say, you know what, we're not about that.
Oh
here.
yeah, it's go.
So I imagine whenever it rears its head, it's dealt with. So when you have organised
Yeah.
and people trying to get organised, that's when the elders phone me. So only my elders have done more in my community to battle Islamic extremism. Yeah. So, but when I'm phoning my cousins and my white mates and the lads to go into Islamic extremism, what do you think is going to happen when I hear UKIP are coming?
Yeah.
To this city, and they're bringing 6-foot crosses, and they want to bounce with the 6-foot crosses into Toxteth, and saying get them out.
Why did they choose this city though? The
Because
UKIP at that time?
because they've never been able to get a foothold in this city because the normal Liverpudlians stopped them.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyday Liverpudlians, people who have got Irish grandparents and were left the city. They come into this city and start shouting England, and we're like, this is the Republic of Liverpool. Fuck.
Did you, when you come out of prison, is that when you got into the community activism?
No, no, to be honest with you, that's why I always stayed away. So my dad, when I was a child, my dad was president of Merseyside Gemini community. It's the oldest ethnic community in the country, and I always stayed away. But I was always around it because my dad bought a building and that's been donated to the community. With him and his partner bought a building that was donated to the community. So I've always been around. But I was a bit of the black sheep. And once you're on TV, it's hard to deny. Yeah, like once you get put on like national TV, it's hard to deny. So I just kept my head down. It was only when the extremists come in, because like within our community, they know, like the elders know. So getting rid of extremists is probably how I started getting more involved in community. But I've always been involved in, like Peter McGuinness, the man who used to own Quiggins. He used to phone the police on me regular.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a known organised racist.
I didn't think that.
Anything I say, I'm aware of slander laws. I own property. So he phoned the police on me because I took all my white family and friends to him and said, show me your white power and I'll show you mine. Because you're not coming around scaring our people. We don't want no trouble with no one. But if there's a Muslim who's going to start kicking off on Christians, well, I've got a Christian mum, so I'm happy to speak to them. Yeah. And if it's going to go somewhere, I'm going to be first before they get to speak to your mum or anyone's mum outside my community. But if there's Christians who are going to come and attack the Muslim community, well, I've got a Muslim dad. Yeah, so I want to speak to you first because I grew up around Christians. I know my family are going to stand for me, are going to be Christians, and half my mates are Christians, so I'm going to go first.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you.
I get hate from both sides, but I don't care because I get more love from both sides. And I'm just doing what's right, and I'm doing what I hope you would do for me.
No, yeah, you're right there, because when you see a lot of your clips, though, you're not portrayed like that, are you? Do you know what I mean?
These videos have been highly edited.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm being targeted. And
they cherry pick the narrative that
No, but I'm
suits
glad
them.
he's come on and said
okay,
all
well,
that.
it's not within their interest to say, no white lad in this city, let me say this slowly, no white lad in this city has done more to battle Islamic extremism than me.
Yeah.
Okay, so the white lads from Highton who come on that, the lads from Anfield, the white lads from Wavertree, I put them on that.
Yeah.
That was my work. Yeah, I was called in to get rid of them, and they done it with me. So these racists, these racists, they can't say they're battling Islamic extremism because I already done it for you. It was done, and my elders weakened them before me. So you can't tell me. I don't want to tell the truth about that. They want to say, oh, he's got a Christian mum, he's fucking one of the lads in.
Yeah.
They chat shit and spread lies. And there's been a lot of lies said about me.
I know, I've seen.
Which is why I've come on today, because I've been asked to come on podcasts for a number of years by a number of podcasts. But I don't need a pat on the back for turning my life around. I don't need the exposure, and I don't need to speak to adults about the mistakes I made as an adult. I'd rather speak to children one-to-one and let them know anyone can be an idiot. I was really good at what I did. Most criminals are thick, so I excelled in that field.
Yeah.
But I want to speak to kids and let them. By the time I was 19, I was all over the TV. Yeah, I'd already committed offence, which meant I was going to get a long-term prison sentence. So from the age of 19, I've never been allowed to be a fireman. They won't let me be a taxi driver. Shit, they probably wouldn't let me be a Deliveroo driver because I I committed what they consider a serious crime, and the Rehabilitation Offenders Act doesn't apply to me because the crimes I committed while I was so young have had an impact on me for the rest of my life. No, I don't need to speak to adults about that. Yeah, I need to speak to kids and let them know the stuff you do today will fuck you up for life.
100%, yeah.
Now, the kids in my community, regardless of what's put on the internet, the kids from my community ask the elders from my community, okay? And there's just some historical fact. When the kids from my community are asked about me and Billy Moore, the elders of the community will say, the authorities put Khaled on TV for robbing security vans and robbing banks. Billy Moore put himself on TV saying, I robbed my mum's purse, I need money for our Liam. There is no comparison between me and Billy Moore within our community. I don't need to do anything. I've got no conflict with Billy Moore. If I need Billy Moore to make me look good, he just stands next to me. We're two reformed characters. He used to rob houses. I used to rob security vans and banks. There's no comparison. The youth of our community are not allowed to look as the same. We were both two fuck-ups, but I was never like that. And when he slanders me, I think he's just trying to be a team with Charlie Veach.
I've seen that on
He's just trying to get attention. And he just said lies. So I'm happy to address anything Billy said.
Yeah, I've seen your clips with him. Most recently, you were stood in town. He was next to you, firing into you, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'll start at the beginning with Billy. Billy walked up to me and I seen him coming over, and I used to like Billy. So Billy's been homeless and I've been homeless when I was a teenager. Billy's been in jail and I've been in jail. Billy was a fighter, I was a fighter. Billy spent time in jail abroad. I spent a few nights in the cells abroad. I've got a lot in common with Billy. If I don't know yous and I don't know Billy, I would wish Billy well because I've got a shared history with Billy. So I used to wish Billy really well. And I used to get told he's this, he's that. And I'd give him a chance, And then I start watching his videos and I see him bigging up Joey Owens, who's a non-violent racist extremist.
I've seen this YouTube.
Been going back decades, sending razor blades covered in shit to Jewish people, who was the head of security for the BNP. And he bigs up Joey Owens. It's like, okay. And then he says on the Remembrance Day, this is a deserved march, which it is. He said, you won't see any foreign flags here. I'm like, why would a foreign flag make a march undeserved? And then he starts going on now with important problems. So I see, and then in our first interview, he said, we had the riots here last year, and when the community was brought into an asylum link, I'll have to come onto asylum link and tell you what really happened. Billy was there, and he says in his own video on his estate, he gets threatened on his own estate not to pull his camera out. So Billy goes all around the country, but in his own words, when he goes back to his estate, he gets threatened, because the community know what Billy really is. Yeah, he's already told us he was a crackhead, he was a smackhead, and that's nothing against addiction, because you can be a functional addict, yeah, and contribute to society, and you can be a drug addict, and it only impacts yourself, and that's no business of no one else. But from time you're not a functional addict, not time you're not a drug addict, from time you're a little smackhead robbing houses, then now you're a problem in the community, and that's what Billy really is, and that's undeniable. So we've both got pasts, but you can't lie. Whatever you say on the internet, that's out there in the ether. In our community, Billy, you can't lie about us. Yeah, because the kids we went to school with us. Our elders who knew us before we knew ourselves, they're still there. So Billy's trying to reinvent himself, and he's trying to cause trouble. So the first day he come up to me, I walked up to him and said, "Have you come to educate yourself? Can I introduce you to someone?" He's like, "No, you also support terrorists." I said to him, "What do you mean we support terrorists, Billy?" He went, "These flags." So I said to him, "Does the Union Jack represent..."
So hang on, what? They all... So this is...
He come up to me at the Palestine march.
These uneducated people keep saying that the Palestine flag is a terrorist.
So I said to him, does the Union Jack represent Keir Starmer? Yes, so I said to him, does the Union Jack represent Keir Starmer? He said, no. I said, when you with your St. George's flag, does that represent the British government or the British people? So the Palestinian flag does not represent Hamas. It represents the Palestinian people. Yeah? It represents the Palestinian. So I wanted to introduce him to people far more eloquent, far more articulate, far more knowledgeable than I on the subject. People who I learn from, and I'm quite knowledgeable on the subject. But Billy said, nah, he's all fucking support terrorists. So I said, I can't introduce you to Billy with that fucking attitude. So we had words, and he's edited it. So on Billy's first video, I'm a little bit animated, I'm a little bit agitated, but I've just had this man come over saying I support terrorists, trying to trigger me. And he acknowledges it 3 times. Now on the second, he then changes the intro. So the actual intro, he walks over at the Catholic Cathedral before the chanting starts. He then does the intro and edits it and puts that through at the bombed out church. And he's come up to me and asked me for interviews, and I said, Billy, I don't want to talk about my past. I don't want to, my kids don't know about my past, so I don't want to talk about my past. And I'm on camera saying to him, his platform's too important to talk about my past. Let's help the kids talk about me. But he's desperate to talk about my past. He's desperate. And then he says, I sell guns, I sell drugs, I'm on the gear, I'm on rocks, and I've been to Garth prison. This is what he said on the UKIP, on video. Now, he knew it was wrong because he cut out the drugs bit. But I'd like to clarify, and I almost want to take a lie detector on this, not to prove me right, but so when you want to meet him in the future, you can say, Billy, you're so full of shit. Because I have spent years locked in a cell, and I had the mental fortitude to never once sample. Not once have I ever sampled the shit that you got addicted to. With my personality, I'd probably be fucked for life. But I've never sampled it. I've not got a conviction of selling drugs. As a teenager in the 90s, from a different century, I've got a knowingly concerned, which meant a friend of mine, an operation showed that I was knowingly concerned. I've never sold guns. I've never spent a night in HMP Garth. He accuses me of beating dogs and stabbing dogs, and Fred said the same. No, never beat a dog. There's a video of my dog with a rat. I don't hit the dog.
My friend told me about it. He said it's not as bad as what people have made out.
No, they say I hit the dog. They say I stabbed the friend. Watch the video, because there's a 4-minute video.
Yeah.
And even on the worst 10 seconds, I bang a bin with a stick so my dog will drop the rat. Because every time my dog chews the rat, it stretches out. Yeah. I think leaving my dog with a rat is animal abuse. Now, because of my past, once my dog picks up that rat, I'm getting arrested. If I leave the dog with the rat, I'm getting arrested. If I try to get it off.
They're trying to discredit you.
But okay, so he's using this platform to say I'm a paedophile, and there's numerous videos where they're saying I'm a sex offender, they're saying I'm a terrorist, and when they're saying I'm a sex offender, they give him my name, saying, you're Khaled Radman. And what he's saying is, he's saying his friend LeVay, he's telling people in front of me, his friend LeVay has told people I'm a sex offender. I would invite people to Google Billy's friend LeVay. I don't even want to say his second name, but Billy's friend LeVay, L-E-V-E-R-E, who's 57, was blackmailing a 17-year-old after an inappropriate relationship. And Billy told too many people. So
you're going to Google it?
Yeah, Google it. Yeah, and I asked. So Billy is badmouthing me based on information from LeVay. Billy's shouting to me, save our kids, while he stood next to Porky Moore, a man who's just been let out of jail for killing a teenager. One sec, bro. How fucking dare you stand there shouting, save our kids to me, while you sat next to a man who killed kids? Fuck Porky Moore, fuck Willie Moore, and fuck Darren Waterhouse. I'm not impressed by men who kill teenage boys, not at all. But don't dare fucking look at me and say, save our kids, while you're with Porky Moore. Billy Moore is trying to say I've done that. Google me, and then Google his friend LeVay. Google Billy's friend, JDE Media. Google JDE Media. These are the people Billy Moore has around him. Yeah. We've known for months about JDE Media, and Fred's still been providing him security over a month or two ago.
Has Fred been doing security for him?
Yes,
Can I ask you also, how the hell did you come into conflict with him?
So, basically, I'm on the protests, and I see Charlie just giving people abuse, and I see him speaking to some woman one day, and I hurt her feelings, and I thought, you know what, like, no way I'm letting that slide. That's my sister, as far as I'm concerned. I don't even know this girl, don't know who she is. So I said to Charlie, you're not going to be doing nothing like that to Liverpool. And he just gets cheeky. He's coming to see me and said, oh, you again? And he was pointing in my face. So I said, Fred, come to the gym with me. And I said, Charlie, let him come to the gym. Stop putting your hands on our people. Stop pushing us. He says he can walk where he goes. He said an Englishman can walk on English clay and just thinks he can walk through us and pushes. He comes over, he says the most racist shit. We're all Hamas supporters. He's disrespectful to our women. Billy's friends, Ned, Charlie, the warlock with the beard, they come into this and they're disrespectful to our women, body shaming our women, saying our women look like whales and fat and saying they're oppressed. Wouldn't dare speak to their women like that. And Billy thinks that's okay. Now, I asked Fred to come to the gym with me. And I asked Fred to come to the gym and he stole it on me.
Yeah, seeing the kick.
A punch, no.
Oh, was it a punch, Fred?
No, yeah. There's an elbow here.
Yeah.
He elbowed me and then he kicked me. No, he elbowed me and he kicked me. And then I asked him many times after that, like, will you come? So the next day, I phoned Billy Moore in the morning And you can see all my WhatsApp messages to Billy there. There's 15 messages to Billy. So the next day I phone Billy in the morning. I say, Billy, get Fred to come and have me straight in the gym, please. And then I said those things, Billy. Never taken drugs, yeah? Never even sampled that stuff, Bill. I've not got no drugs convictions. There's an only concern from in the 90s, a different century. Never sold fucking guns, and I've never spent a night in Garth. Like, you need to, I said to him, Billy, you might as well say I'm a Martian. I don't know how to respond, but I've got kids, yeah, and I work with pensioners, and I'm not going to like that. So you should take that out, please. I said, ask Fred if he'll come to the gym. He put pause on me yesterday. And he went, oh, Fred can fight, you know. I said, sound. He'll have it with me, Jim. He said, Fred's had 2 fights. I said, no problem. At what level? He kept going on. Fred's had 2 fights. I said, Billy, what fights has he had at what level? He said, he's had 2 amateur fights, proper fights. I said, that's so fucking cute. I haven't had 2 amateur fights since I was 13. That's what I said to Billy. I said, Billy, tell Fred that I said this. Whatever part of my body you think it's hard for me to knock Fred out with, that's how I'll knock him out. Whether it's the back of my heel, or my shin, or my elbow, or my knee, or my forearm. You tell me how it's hard for me to put Fred a kip, and that's how I'll do it. But if you don't tell him, I'm just going to take him to the ground and choke him out. So Billy's going on and said, okay, when are we meeting? And he tried to say, oh, there's some naughty firm from the UKIP night who are not happy, this racist firm, they're heavy. I said, okay, what were the names? He didn't want to give me the names. I said, Billy, tell them you told me their name, and I laughed. Okay, so bring Fred. He said, well, we can't do it till 4 o'clock. I said, okay. Bring Fred at 4 o'clock. I'll have Fred a fight. He'll be done by 5 past, I promise you. Promise you. And then this heavy firm will deal with them. All the lads come down for me. You know, lads had to leave work. Lads had to leave their families. We got together. We're all straight-headed. Yeah. They're drinkers. We're all drunk at this point, don't want to know. And I'll be honest with you, I thought, you know what? I've won the moral victory. He doesn't want to know. Billy's seen that. I'm going to call on the straightener. I couldn't have addressed it any better. There's no arguing, no nothing. Just let's meet in the gym. Let's resolve it and let's move on. And then Billy starts chatting, or he starts going angry, he starts getting really vindictive and nasty, and that's when he starts spreading the paedophile and telling people, Levy's told me he's a nonce. And then so I phoned him and sent him 15 messages like, we need to meet up. I phoned him once, he's answered. I said, Billy, we're in town. Let's meet up. He put me on the phone to his friend. Billy won't even speak to me. He puts me on the phone to his friend like we're in school, and he's got a big mate. And his mate's like, Laverne said this. I said, come and meet me. They won't meet me off camera. You can go from my WhatsApp, go from my phones. Billy's all talk, I'm sure. So then I see him in town, and this is the 3rd video. He stood there next to our march, okay? And he stood next to, there's 3 men that you can't see. Billy's one of them with 2 men and 2 women. And they're saying Islam are rapists, Islam are fascists. They're just criticising the march.
So he's always provoking Muslims.
Yeah, he's been provoking the march.
Deliberately. So he's a racist, really. He's a redneck.
Okay, so listen, I've been telling people Billy's not racist, yeah? He just does whatever for clicks and votes.
But he's a racist, really.
I don't want to say he's racist, but he's prejudiced against Palestine. So as he's just randomly going on about the march, don't understand, this lad's not from Speak, he's not from Hale Wood, he's not from Seaforth, he's from my ends. That's my local house robber. And he's going on to pensioners. I don't know the local house robber from your area. Yes, it might not be my place to tell your local house robber, but if you see your local house robber giving grief to pensioners, you say to him, shut the fuck up, lad. Behave. Yeah, so told Billy to behave. Now, me and Billy start speaking, and he said, why won't you speak to me? I said, Billy, you said I sell guns and drugs. Yeah? So you're either bullshitting, or you're telling the truth, which means you're a snitch. Okay. When the fuck did Billy come Cash Patel? Is he Columbo now? If I did sell guns and drugs, he would never know. He would never know. So by him coming out there and saying I sell guns and drugs, so I said to him in Church Street, you're clean now, Billy. As to reform characters, I don't believe that's the first time you said someone sells guns and drugs. It rolled off your tongue too easy. And I said to his mates, if he's like that now, telling fucking lies about people, what was he like when he was on the gear? Imagine being in the next cell to him and he's rattling. He's giving everything up because we've got him on camera saying stuff now. Now it doesn't matter whether the stuff's true or not because he's gone on James English, Liverpool gangster.
Yeah, I've seen
Okay,
that.
so no one Liverpool gangster says you sell guns and drugs about another former career criminal, but that's going to get a police operation on me. I'm under odds now. Obviously, it would be dereliction of duty for the police not to initiate an operation. What more do you want? You've got one former career criminal saying another former career criminal selling guns and drugs. Are the police going to wait for someone to get shot? No, it's fine. I'll take that operation because I'm not doing nothing. But Billy shouldn't be saying shit like that. Yeah? And it's not true. He's just trying to badmouth me. So if it's true, come, step up, Billy. Yeah. Step up, say everything you can, please, Billy, because it's not going to go down well. Because one, people know it's not true. But how do you think the criminals of this city have looked at that? How do you think the lads in this city have looked at Billy when he said that? Because the first people who know you go legit are criminals. They know who their competition is. They know. So every criminal around mine supports me. One, they don't need me as a competition, but they know I'm telling the truth. Yeah. They know before the police, before anyone who their competition is. Yeah. And they know I'm not doing nothing. So how do you think the lads are looking at it when Billy's saying that about me and they know it's bollocks? And when I'm this close to Billy and I'm saying, Billy, you're a fucking bullshitter or a snitch, you want to do that?
The thing is, the real G's of this city, like you said, who know the truth, they're going to look at Billy and think, this guy's a waffler.
It's unspoken word, because when we're in Church Street and I'm telling him, you're a bullshitter or a snitch, he doesn't say nothing. And what he's cut out is I've said to him, Billy, fucking go away, I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to speak to you. Because I've said to him, go and bum for your family, Billy, because you have too many holidays to keep bumming from my community. Because he's constantly out there asking for money for Liam or for Judah or for someone. And if you want to know what Billy Moore's like, just look at his own words. So I'm calling him stuff to his face on Church Street, but when the police are there, he'll front me. Yeah, he's that lad who in school he'll have it with you when the teachers are there. Or in jail, you can call him a snitch to his face, but he'll have it when the schools are there.
I know, the annoying sort, basically. He'll act Bertie Big Bollocks when there's, in the work, in front of cameras, but as soon as you're outside where there's no cameras, he's going to duck. Like. He's going to run.
So he's just doing annoying, it for views. So I don't want to rise to it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you something, bro. In regards to future and with what's going on in the world with Palestine, not just Palestine, but the way they are playing, basically dividing the Muslims and robbing the infrastructure, the land, ultimately. That's how I see it. And it's all done by the West. They are sitting around a table, all these nations' leaders, and it's like an invisible hand that's orchestrating everything, and the politicians are just playing an act. And there's no, they're making it out that Muslims are terrorists, right? But there is no terrorism because there's no organization that's doing any harm. It's always done by the same people, I believe, who are actually pulling the strings and controlling the media and everything and saying, oh, yeah, let's blame the Muslims. Let's create Hamas now. But even Hamas was a political government, funded by Israel itself to go against Yasser Arafat, because Yasser Arafat had all of
Abby, you're going on about 6 different points there, right? So what I'm trying to remember is you're asking about Palestine, you're asking about the world,
no, but it's all together. It's all linked, because let's be real.
Go ahead, let Khaled, because we're finding this really interesting.
What point did you want me to answer?
All of it, because I think it's all linked.
Okay, so Palestine right now, the fight for equality, the fight against oppression, the fight against brutality, 200 years ago, the face of that fight would have been against slavery. And 100 years ago, the fight for equality and human rights would have been against the Jim Crow laws. And 60 years ago, the fight for human rights might have been against, the face of it might have been, say, the civil rights movement. And 40 years ago, it would have been South Africa. But right now, the fight against oppression, the fight against the elites, the fight against the system, the fight for human rights, Palestine is the face. I am not blind to what is happening in Sudan. I'm not blind to what's happening in Yemen. I'm aware of the horrors in Congo, in Syria, around the world.
Nigeria,
Nigeria with the atrocities Boko Haram are committing. But Palestine right now, it's the zeitgeist, it's captured the spirit of the moment, and the world can see is what's happening to Palestine. Yeah. And Yemen is the world's worst humanitarian disaster and has been for a number of years. But Yemen is a country and it's affecting hundreds of thousands of people across a country. Gaza is 5 miles by 25 miles. That is Garston to Southport, Liverpool to Manchester. Yeah? And they are killing hundreds of thousands of people. They've accepted 70,000 so far confirmed. It was a year ago that the Lancet have said 186,000. Donald Trump, the man who has the so-called best intelligence in the world, he said there are 1.7 to 1.8 million people in Gaza. He said that 3 times in 3 different interviews the week. First interviews with Benjamin Netanyahu. We know there are 2.2 million people in Gaza. We know there are 2.2 million people in Gaza, or there was before this military operation. Why is he saying there's only 1.7 to 1.8? We do fear that hundreds of thousands have been killed. It's been played out in front of us. They said they were going to turn off the water, and they did. They said they were going to starve the people, and they did. They said they were going to do no innocent Palestinians, and they've shown us that. Israel has committed numerous breaches of international law. You look at the Geneva Convention, Article 4 of the Geneva Convention covers collective punishment. Collective punishment means we shouldn't be punished for the crimes of Tony Blair. Imagine us being punished because of David Cameron, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, or this prick, Keir Starmer. You cannot punish a population because of the leadership, and because the alleged atrocities by Hamas, they are taking out the population. Collective punishment under the second protocol, 1977 Geneva Convention, they went to us so much. You can't starve a population because of its leadership. You can't turn off the water. You can't turn off the electricity. You can't stop the food. And yet Israel does all this. Article 49, one sec, while Tommy had Article 49 of the Geneva Convention says you cannot forcibly move a population. It is a breach of international law to forcibly move a population. Imagine Labour does something and all of us have got to move because of Labour. One sec, well, 100%. One sec, well, I remember, because Article 451, remember what I'm saying? Article 3, Article 3, Article 4, Article 49, Article 51 of the UN Charter states that the only people who have the right to self-defense is the oppressed. And since 1967, every single day, Israel has been in breach of international law and has been the oppressor. So I won't say the H organization, because I'll get arrested for it, but the Palestinian resistance have been right to resist every single day since 1967. Yeah. Article 55 of Geneva Conventions says it incumbent on the occupiers to provide food and aid, and Israel doesn't do this. Article 56 of the Geneva Convention says all medical facilities and all medical staff must be left alone and allowed to do their job unencumbered. Israel targets medical staff. Article 59 of the Geneva Convention says if a local population isn't able to provide food or medical aid, it is incumbent on the occupiers to provide that aid and medical attention, and Israel doesn't do this. I'm off the top of my head, example after example after example, a horrific crime and breaches of international law. Israel has committed more breaches of UN resolutions than the rest of the world combined. Think about this. This is not, England is 1% of the world's population with our 80 billion, 70 to 80 million out of 8 billion. The Palestinians are less than 0.1% of the world's population. All these horrific crimes are being committed on such a small population. And here, one second, Liverpool, in England, we are responsible, because where we are right now, it was Arthur Balfour in his role as Home Secretary, 25 miles away from here, and he started in the office, and he writ to Lord Rothschild, the head of the British Zionist organisation, Her Majesty's government will give you Palestine, will have no objection. But so Britain has just give away Palestine in 1917. But you know, even 50 years before that, you know, Churchill's dad, Sir Ranulph Churchill, he offered Theodore Hearst and the Zionist organisation, he offered them Uganda and he offered them Kenya. So we would have these problems today in Uganda or in Kenya.
So it was going to come anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Theodore Hearst said, no, we want Palestine. So we are not fighting for Palestinians because they're Palestinian. They are human beings. They're being denied their human rights. They're being denied their rights under international law. It is ethnic cleansing. It is genocide. It is cultural appropriation. You're not allowed to take a DNA test in Israel because it shows that all the people in Israel are not, and they're not Semites. They're not Israelis. Now, I believe in freedom of movement.
No.
Ethiopians are the real Semites.
Okay, they can be.
Semite is basically someone who reads Aramaic, Hebrew, true Hebrew,
No,
or
they're the
Arabic, as in from the bloodline of Abraham, Abrahamic bloodline.
No.
I thought the real
So
Semites
if
were
I can tell you
Ethiopians.
what a Semite is,
Go on.
a Semite is Afro-Asiatic. Let me tell you, I'm a Semite, bro. I'm sat before you as a direct genetic descendant of the oldest Semitic people on the face of the
also a
earth.
Semite
And I'm
though as
not
well,
to be
so-
told what anti-Semitism or what a Semite is. A Semite is the Afro-Asiatic family of the human species that are split into three branches: the North Levant, the Semites of the Levant branch of Arabia, the Semite branch of the Central Arabia, and the oldest and original branch of Semites, the branch from which every Semite is descended, the branch of Semites from South Arabia, which also incorporates Somalia and Ethiopia, but they're called South Arabian Semites. So if we go back to the Stone Age, we have the Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic period of Stone Age. I'm on about human evolution. I've taken us back to a time before the Jewish race exists, before the white race exists. This is not my opinion. This is the accepted scientific consensus. We have the black man, and the first branch on the tree of humanity are the Semites. And the Semites of Somalia, Yemen, and Ethiopia, one tribe. They moved throughout Arabia. It's 60,000 years ago. It's called nomadic Arabian pastoralism. And during nomadic Arabian pastoralism, human beings had not yet settled. We moved throughout Arabia following the migratory patterns of animals. We get to Palestine, okay? We get to Palestine, and they're in a cave, the Kebaran Caves. The Kebaran Caves, 20 miles outside Haifa. This is a really important story. We know through cave drawings, through artifacts, through archaeology, that the Kebaran people became the Natufian people, okay, from 12,500 years ago. People were in Palestine 20,000 years ago. They became the Natufian people from 12,500 people. Everyone should know this, because the Natufian people of Palestine were the first people in the history of humanity to say, let's stop becoming hunter-gatherers and let's make a village. Let's stay here. Let's stop being nomadic. Now, the Natufian people left us 4 samples. Yeah, we've got 4 bodies. It's not the largest sample size, but they are the only samples we've got. And every sample 100% shows that the structure and cluster of the genomes, the structure and cluster of the genome within the DNA sequence shows that the people that they are related to most in the world today is Yemenis. So we had Arabs in Palestine 20,000 years ago, and we can prove this through DNA analysis of the Natufian people from 12,000 years ago. Now, the Natufian people, they brought us into the Neolithic period of the Stone Age. And after the Stone Age becomes the Bronze Age. So the Stone Age is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, but the Bronze Age is early Bronze Age, mid Bronze Age, late Bronze Age, okay? We've got hundreds and hundreds, thousands of examples of people in the Levant in the Bronze Age. They used to mummify the bodies, and out of all the samples we got, we can see from the structure and the cluster of the genome sequence in their DNA that the people that they're most related to is Palestinians. So Palestinians have been on that land, fact, accepted scientific consensus for thousands of years. We already know, again, through anthropology, through archaeology, we only look at Jewish literature to know that the nomadic tribe of Israel didn't come into formation until the land of Mesopotamia 5,000 years ago. They migrated west from Mesopotamia. Yes, they went to Egypt, but they ended up in the land of Canaan in the late Bronze Age, 3,800 years ago. This is according to their literature. When they get to the land of Canaan, it's never a land without a people, for a people without a land. There was already people there. The Canaanites, the Philistines, the Phoenicians, the Amaleks were already there. Now, I believe in freedom of movement. I'm very happy for Israelites to go wherever they want, but don't say there was no one on that land. So, we've also got the first recorded case of genocide when Israelites, even in their own literature, wiped out the Amaleks. Go on, sorry, Abba.
So the current, these people who call themselves, the Israelis, they're not real Hebrews. They are not from the bloodline of they're not from the Hebrew bloodline. Just let me finish for a sec, bro. These guys have hijacked and learnt this religion over 1,200 years, 1,200 years to be precise. To me, they are from the third son of Noah, which is Japheth. They are Gog and Magog. Bible talks about them as Gog and Magog. Quran talks about them as Yajuj and Majuj, Gomer and Magog. If you Google this, you'll see Gomer and Magog's bloodline has the Ashkenaz lineage comes from there. Now these people, wait for a second. These people have hijacked this whole thing and say, oh, we believe in the God of Abraham, but really they don't. In secrecy, they worship Baal Chora. Baal Chora is their god, which is a demon. He's a demon. Now, these people came out in the 9th century, I believe. They came out, they had a big blooded battle with the bloodline of Dhul Qarnayn, which is mentioned in the Quran, right? And after they got released, they have spread out throughout the land, and slowly they have mastered languages, hijacked religions, have mated and come into Europe, and they've taken over the whole of the European area, and they've grown in power. And then I think there's a guy called Albert Pike, 1776.
Yeah, he's a 33-degree Freemason in America.
He wrote the battle plan of World War I, II, and III, and they are going exactly by his battle plan.
Before you go on to Freemasons in America, you're going back to the Ashkenazi, and I don't know too much about what you're saying, but you're confusing two different things. You're saying people who have adopted Judaism. So the Ashkenazis made a mass conversion and adopted Judaism. I'm on about genetic Jews. Okay, one second, let me speak. So we have genetic Semitic people who are Jewish, who come from the land of Iraq, who have been in Israel for 3,800 years. They are a lot like me. You take a DNA test from a Sephardic Jew will be a lot like me, just like someone from Palestine. You're on about an Ashkenazi Jew.
Which is the majority of the world.
Okay, so but people can adopt Judaism, can convert to Judaism.
Yep.
And that's what you said. And then
which
I don't know too much about
that's
the story
why they
about
don't
Magog.
want DNA tests.
Well, I really don't want DNA tests.
You can see their real blood type and the DNA from that, isn't it?
So the Jewish people have been massively persecuted. Our Jewish brothers and sisters have been harassed and abused.
I agree with that, and they've been wiped out
throughout history. This country's first immigration law was the 1905 Balfour Alien Act, which was directed against our Jewish brothers and sisters who were escaping the Russian pogroms. And we have to be careful we don't heap any more shit on our people who are being suffered, because we can't blame Jewish people for anything that some Ashkenazi tribe have done. We can't blame Jewish people for Zionists. We can't blame Jewish people for the Likud government. We can't blame Jewish people for Benjamin Netanyahu.
No, I agree with you. You're right. You can't blame innocent people who haven't done.
I blame Zionists and extremists.
Yeah.
And it is illegal. You can't take a DNA test in Israel, and that's because they're trying to fill it with people who aren't from there. But I believe in freedom of movement. I'm cool with immigrants coming here. I'm cool with anyone going to Israel, but everybody should be able to go. For example, Steve, you could buy land in Israel, and I can't. That's a racist spin program.
Is that what they've got going?
Yes, they are. It's called, check out Hafrada. It's a real policy. Nelson Mandela said it's worse than apartheid in South Africa. Desmond Tutu was told it's worse than apartheid in South Africa. Bet Salam, Oxfam, Amnesty International, all the most credible organisations in the world, even the Israeli humanitarian organisation said it is an apartheid state. I'm not allowed to buy land there. You would be allowed down certain streets. I wouldn't be. It's a two-state apartheid, racist, prejudiced, Jewish supremacist state. Mm-hmm. And I'm against ISIS. I'm against Al-Qaeda. Not because they're Muslim, not because they're Arab, because they're extremists. Okay, so I'm against the state of Israel and Zionists because of how they are. They're extremists. For me, a Zionist is the same as a Nazi, is the same as ISIS. They're all extremists. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether they're Christian or Jewish or Muslim. They're still extremists, and we need to fight extremism wherever it is.
See, it's good that you've come on and explained all this, really, because the videos will get put out to you. You wouldn't think that you were against all that.
Yeah.
You know, when the videos get edited and all that.
I know that's not by an accident, that's by design. That's
no, I know.
Yeah,
so it's good that you've come on and said all this.
But people, the lads of Liverpool can see. So I've never used the name Khaled. Because of my past, I always use the name Amu. The lads of Liverpool know who I am. They can see, like, when do you know I got arrested by Billy's friend? No, I got a Section 39 after they come and abuse me. I'm getting arrested for Section 39. And Billy's influenced the police saying, you need a counsellor, you're always getting arrested. He shouldn't be speaking to me, influence the police's mind while I'm getting arrested. He shouldn't be saying I need therapy. He shouldn't be saying it's always me. That's not how the lads behave. He's trying to get me arrested and then there. Whereas I speak freely when the police aren't there and I shouldn't move. So last year, on the 30th of May, I want to talk about snitches. Billy said I called him a snitch. On the 30th of May last year, Sergeant Ben Williamson and his officers grabbed me and asked me to be an informant on the movement, and I said no. And they offered me paid money, and I said no. And they offered me something better than money, and I thought, what's better than money? Only health and success for my children is better than money. So when I said no, they arrested me for being one of the leaders of the pro-Palestinian movement. They banned me from the city centre for a year. They said I was disrupting essential government infrastructure, leading unauthorised protests, committing public order acts. I'm still on bail now, 18 months later. Yeah, I'm still on bail. Wow. I've got my interview there. The first number of questions you were asking me was about Hamas. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be an informant, I've been on bail since. They've raided my properties 8 times since May. I've been on continuous bail since then. I'm getting harassed by the police. Yeah. And I've got Billy there trying to nick me to get me arrested. His mate got me arrested. His friends are calling me a paedophile and pulling on me. And when I pushed him away, they get me arrested for assault. And Billy's there goading that. Yeah, Billy's goading that. Then the police are right up for it because they're stitching me up anyway. And that's not how the lads behave. No. People can see if he had something to say to me, he should say it on Church Street. He should meet me away from cameras, but he won't. He's a team with Charlie Veach. He's trying to be antagonistic. I worry that he's antagonising me. I'm going to react, and he's trying to try and get more people behind him to come against our marches.
What I don't understand is, what gives these people the right to think that they are ethically and religiously on a higher plane than you or any other person? Because I don't see him having any faith inside him.
Well, Billy,
he's faithless.
Billy,
and how can he even talk about Christianity? They don't know the ABC about their.
Billy said he's not a Christian; he's a Catholic.
Well,
he doesn't even
Catholic,
know.
Yeah,
he doesn't
Catholic
even know falls into Christian.
It's a joke.
He's ignorant and he's not open to be educated.
And they don't know jack all about Jesus. They think they all do, but they don't.
But he's not open to have a conversation. I think you can say I can engage in discourse. I am up for a conversation.
Oh yeah, it's been really interesting.
Whatever I say, I'm not saying I'm right, but this is what I believe, and I can tell you why I believe what I believe. And if you don't agree with what I believe, I'm fine with that. You can believe what you believe, but I can have a discussion on what I believe.
I think bro, I'm surprised.
I've been quiet because it's been really interesting.
You've been coming and dropping bombs, bro. Yeah. You've been dropping like amazing stuff. Like
please Google anything I've said. Please Google anything I've said.
Lever, he sent me the thing.
Not just that. You're coming out with gems, bro. You're coming out with like
and JDE Media
from the heart. You got nothing written down. You're coming. I don't know.
Oh, so when I come here, they'd say, ask me anything.
Yeah.
I said, not Yemen, and that's not. I was talking about Yemen's position within Palestine. I didn't want to talk about my experience in Yemen because then I couldn't talk about anything else. I can't go and have a nice day after I talk to you about what it's like in Yemen. So we've seen Yemen acting on behalf of Palestine.
You know the example you gave earlier on that Tony Blair done a lot of things now. Imagine we as a British population are blamed for it, and then they start attacking us for his actions. Bro, that was a game changer.
Okay, well, you know what I always wonder?
Like, wow.
Okay, well, imagine
Never
this.
thought of it
imagine
like
there was a Muslim madrasa, right, in Afghanistan or in Yemen, and they can put a body count on it. So I want you to think of how many of our leaders have been to Eton. Yeah, just Eton. And how many bodies has Tony Blair got on him? Say over 1 million, just
millions,
how many's David Cameron got on him from what he's done in Libya? How many's Boris Johnson got on him from what he's done in Syria? What's David Cameron got on him? So if you look at Eton College and you think, what body count, how many millions of people are dead? Now imagine that was a Muslim madrasa. Will you imagine that was a Muslim madrasa and they said, the mullahs in this Muslim madrasa, how many millions are dead? It'd be bombed to bits.
So that is an educational institution.
Exactly.
That is educating.
What is the curriculum? What curriculum they teaching in Eton for them to bring out leader after leader? Because 5 million Muslims have died during the war on terror.
And Africans. These lot took out Gaddafi and destroyed Libya. Libya was an amazing country once upon a time, and Iraq. Look at it today. You know, it's like it's a breeding ground for terrorism and different organizations rising and taking one out to another. But when Saddam was there, when the leader Gaddafi was in Libya, bro, these countries were booming. They even under sanctions, they had money and wealth, and their people were bloody living nice. Now it's destroyed.
Just speaking again on Billy before that, you know, he keeps saying he's going to be Charlie, he wants to be like Charlie Beach. Has Fred not been in contact with you since?
Oh, so yeah, made a number of attempts to get in contact with Fred. Asked Fred for a fight. So the person who got in contact with me, he's in the fight game. He only makes money from the fight game.
Yeah,
and there's been offers for Fred to fight me for cash.
I spoke to Fred on behalf and thingy, but I'll tell you in a minute.
Can you tell me what is Fred eager to meet up with me?
He is. Before I asked that the mutual person we know to bring you onto here, I asked Fred because I couldn't find you on nothing, do you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I've seen your videos, you're fighting in town. And he did say, like, when I see him within 6 foot, it's on site. So I was like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? But saying it
gym with me.
And then responding to you is a different thing, do you know what I mean?
Okay, I've been asked if I'll fight Fred.
Yeah.
I've been offered, will you fight? I said, send the contract. Yeah, and Fred refused. If anyone else were, because I fought professionally, we've got 2 examples of Fred having someone fight back on him and he crumbles. Have you seen Fred's fight?
I've seen him, no.
You haven't seen Fred's fight?
I only
he
ever
gives
come
up on
across
his
him.
feet.
I only ever come across him when he
Fred's
attacked you in town.
Fred is a fraud.
Yeah.
How dare he give instructional classes on self-defense when he's only had 2 amateur fights?
Yeah.
He's a rank novice. He should be learning in the gym, coming out and teaching us what he's just learned. So I'd love to fight Fred. I've been really trying to fight Fred. And I was told, I was asked, will you fight Fred? And I said, send me the contract. Anyone else, I would have said, what sport? What's the skill set? Is it MMA, boxing, Thai? I would have said, what's the rule set? Nevada State Athletic Commission or East Asian rules on FC? What's the weight class? He's bigger than me. I want him to come down. What price? I want to know what I'm getting paid. What city? I didn't even care. I just said, yeah, and Fred crumbled. If Fred's telling you he'll meet me, tell him I'm free this week. Tell him we can have it in the gym or in the football.
No, he didn't say he would meet. He just said, yeah. But he said, when I'm within 6 feet, it's on site.
Well,
so I was like, oh.
I've been told he's going to kill me. Fred's allowed to kill me if he just gets in the ring with me.
Yeah.
He's allowed to kill me if he gets in the cage. But it's the flip side to that coin that keeps Fred out, because I'm allowed to kill Fred and I won't face charges. And what's he going to do? Punch me? Elbow me? Kick me? I've had that with Fred. Doesn't bother me. Fred got his 8,000 steps in reverse and Fred won't meet me. And Fred could have resolved all this with me and Billy if Fred would have just met me in the gym. And there was no giving it the big ones. I can show you the messages. I've got 15 unanswered messages. But he doesn't want to know. And Fred doesn't want to know. And if Fred's saying he'll meet me, put it on his toes, please. Tell him to come down.
But before you wrap up, is there anything you want to say to your future, like, you know, your protests and stuff you want to do, or raise anything towards that or anything like that?
Just that, how people have come across me is the videos are being edited and I'm getting triggered. So I was protesting for the NHS. I was protesting against Labour for the NHS. I was there from 9 o'clock in the morning, and then the far right, most of them from out of town, they turn up drunk. They're all calling me slander, paedophile. There's only so many times you can say, Google me, Billy's chatting bubbles. And then I react and they show the recordings of, they edit the videos. Don't believe what you see on video, because you don't see Billy or you don't see any of these auditors. Look into the auditors, look into Billy's friend JDE Media, look into Lever.
Write these down.
Look into all these auditors. When we're doing our disabled cuts, you don't see these there. When we're protesting for the winter fuel allowance, we don't see them. When we're trying to stop NHS, the cuts, we don't see them. Yeah? And then they just can't turn up, cause trouble, and edit the videos. Don't believe what something. I'm happy to speak to anyone in Liverpool. Feel free to come up to me, speak to me. Me and my mates, we are the lads who kept Islamic extremism out, so I expect every Scouser to stand for me, because I'm a Scouser you can stand for, because I would stand for you. And even if you won't stand for me, don't worry. Me and the lads will still stand for you. We still won't let anyone come from outside this city and come inside this city and cause trouble. And I hope that's what you do for me, because that's this city. I love this city. We are from the best city in the country. We've got the best people. Liverpool belongs to the left. It's always belonged to the left. It's always going to belong to the left. And anytime the far right raises its head, I will be there with my community, putting a stop to it or standing against it at the very least. Is there anything you'd like to ask me?
No, I think you just said fucking a lot there, and it's been a bit of an education lesson as well, do you know what I mean? A lot. I didn't fucking know there about all what's going on around the world, right wing, left wing, anything like that. I think it's fucking, like he said, you drop bombs there, like.
I do think the left and right wing are being played off against each other.
I agree on that, yeah.
So we're all so distracted we're all too distracted by each other to see what's really happening, because the people who think they know about Palestine, they don't. They're being lied to by the same people who lied to them about COVID. They're being lied to by the same people who lied to them about Brexit. They're being lied to by the same people who said we're under austerity, we've got no money, but there's 6 billion to fake PPE. We're being lied to. Consecutive governments, if we do well, we get taxed. If we do bad, we get fined. They want us so poor that we can't pay attention. Our enemy is not the far right, the far left. Our enemy is the government. It's the government. I believe in freedom of movement. So I don't.
They've taken that away from
check
Brexit.
this. I don't know who your family are, but I want your cousin Claire or your cousin Craig to go around the world, to go to Bali, to go to Senegal, to go to Mauritius, to go anywhere, to fall in love, to meet someone, to buy a cafe, to buy a restaurant, a little piece of paradise, and live forever. What is wrong with wanting brown people to come here and do that? Yeah, we've got an expat. We all want to be expats. We all want to become successful and be able to move on for a little piece of paradise, for a better life. Let's not begrudge the brown people from somewhere else in the world, because I believe what's going to make this country better. Because I think if you want to look what's ruined this country, it's not the immigrants, it's you and me. It's the people who've already been here, and the type of people who are going to get off their arse, who are going to travel thousands of miles to make better themselves. They're the people who are going to fix this city. And I'm proud that they come to England, because I wouldn't. I'd stop in Italy, I'd stop in Spain, I'd stop in France. And we all know, we all want to go to Spain, France and Italy. Yeah, but they're coming here, past the sun, to fucking rainy old Britain. Please come, because we need help, because we've fucked this country and we need to raise it up, and we need people with work ethic. We need people with a work ethic. We do need people with work ethic, like. Yeah, we do, and they do have work ethic, and that's what Liverpool's always, that what he's on before. We've got the immigrant mentality.
Listen, you know these right wing who are saying, oh, get migrants out, just off, like, brothers over there. Listen, I've come straight onto this podcast after a night shift, you were with me, right? Night shift, Now, where we work, it's a big company.
How do you cope with them?
Wait, it's a big company. Listen, bro.
So you know as well now.
Wait.
Fucking hell.
Listen, how many English people are actually working in this warehouse? Straight up now. There's all European people there, Polish, whatever. The managers are all like white European lot. There's one Scouser night shift manager, who's black brother, Jason. But anyway, the whole workforce is African, Indian, and European.
You've been in the hospital?
No. This is a warehouse, Warehouse.
Is it Amazon?
And now listen, this is up and down the country. If these people were gone out of the country, do you think these people in England will get any mail delivery or any parcels or anything?
We've got one more message after this.
They wouldn't, would they? Because the whole warehouses are flooded by migrants who are working there, right? Why is that? Because English people are so lazy, they don't even want to get out of bed to go and work or do a night shift, right?
I know.
And that's straight facts, right? There's dime a dozen jobs. You can come and work with us on a night shift, yeah?
Fuck that.
But people don't want to do this. They don't want to.
But
and that's the straight fact.
Final message, anything to Billy and Fred, and then we're done.
I'd love to fight Fred. I'd love Fred to just meet me in the gym. Yeah, or we've been told we can do it for charity. There's a number of promoters up for it. Fred won't even fight me for charity. I think, you know what it is with Fred? Fred's a fraud, and he knows he's going to get found out. So there's a thing called the eye test. Go and have a look at my fights. Yeah, they've all been taken down. The police took them down. There's one up there. And go and look at Fred fight. We've seen people hit Fred back twice. He's got 2 amateur fights. He cannot fight. He can punch and kick. Rather than coming here and punching and kicking the left and assaulting our people, have it with me. He's recently made a call out to Bob Villan. Have you seen his call out to Bob Villan? Saying, Bob Villan,
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Yes, you talk violence. Well, you talk violence, fight me, I'll fight you, and have me a duel, I'll fight you any way you want. Defend your clout. Well, I would say to Fred, don't be going after a musical artist, fight me. I'm a martial artist, I'll fight you. Defend your clout against me, Fred. But Fred won't fight me for charity because he knows he's fake, he's a fraud, and he'll be exposed, and all them St. George's flags are just going to drop, they're going to be heartbroken. Now, the far right would love Fred to crack my jaw, but he can't. So ask him to see if he can set something up with us. We can do it in private or as public as he wants. Send him this. Fred's a fake. Yeah, Fred doesn't want it at all. Please, yeah, get it on with Fred. Billy knows, because Billy's told people have been asking him, and Billy's told people, I'll phone at 10 in the morning. Fred's not out.
If I can get it, Ben, if you can do that clip for me tonight, I'll get that over to him. Yeah. But yeah, it's been boss having you on, and I'd love to do another one with you.
Yeah, definitely. Man. We've got to have another one.
Because
thank you for having me.
That was brilliant.
Time, I'll be honest, I just think time's flown by too quick. And
I was just fucking interested just listening. That was
there's a lot. I think we need to scratch beneath the surface of the ocean and get the fucking shit out, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Brilliant.